Today, we're diving into a really complex legal journey that we're calling an appeal for justice.
All right, let's just jump right in with a statement that really gets to the heart of this entire story. This is from a formal complaint filed by Ashley Higgins, and it just lays it all out there. She says she told her attorney to appeal her conviction, and he just didn't.
And that really brings us to the big question we're tackling in this explainer, something that kind of tests the whole foundation of our legal system. What do you do when the very process that's supposed to protect you is the thing that lets you down?
So, to really get what's going on here, we've got to rewind all the way to the beginning. It all kicked off with a dispute on the side of a road, back on September 5th, 2024. The whole thing started with emotions already running incredibly high. The complaining witness, a woman named Chelsea Hurte, even admitted to police that when she first saw the Higgins couple, she saw red. So you know this confrontation was intense right from the get-go. And what's really wild is that this whole complicated legal saga, it was all sparked by a simple misunderstanding. Chelsea Hurte thought Ashley's husband had stolen her car. Turns out he hadn't. But that one mistake, it lit the fuse for everything that came next.
And from there, the initial confrontation just spiraled into a total he said, she said nightmare, which left investigators with the huge challenge of trying to sort through a mountain of contradictory evidence.
So just imagine you're on the jury. You have to figure out what really happened, but the testimony is all over the place. Who started it? Chelsea says Ashley charged at her. The Higgins claimed Chelsea threw the first punch. And an independent witness, she said Ashley just came out swinging. What about how many times someone was hit? Chelsea says 3 times. The witness only saw 1. Was there a weapon involved? One side says a tree branch, the other says a big rock. And the witness saw neither. I mean, what do you do with that? You'd think the physical evidence would clear things up, right? Well, not so much. Police reports specifically noted that Ashley Higgins had 0 visible marks on her. No redness, no swelling, nothing. But Chelsea Hurt, she had a red mark on her cheek, a swollen elbow, and scratches. So how do you square those injuries with the conflicting stories about who the aggressor was? It just adds another layer to the puzzle. So after trying to make sense of all this conflicting testimony and evidence, the jury finally reached a decision, and honestly, it was a real head-scratcher. Okay, get this. The jury acquitted Derek Higgins, the husband, on all 5 charges. He walked, but Ashley Higgins, his wife, who was in the exact same incident and facing the exact same charges, they found her guilty on 2 of the 5 counts. And that is the million-dollar question here, isn't it? This is what lies at the very heart of Ashley's appeal. How on earth can a jury look at one single event and come back with such wildly different outcomes for the 2 people involved? That baffling verdict kicked off the next and maybe most critical chapter of the story. For Ashley, her right to appeal was suddenly on the clock, a 30-day clock. So let's be super clear about what an appeal actually is. It's not a do-over. It's not a second trial where you present new evidence. An appeal is basically asking a higher court to look at your case and decide if the first court made a serious legal mistake. And this timeline just lays out the failure so starkly. On May 29th, the day she's sentenced, Ashley says she told her lawyer, file an appeal. The law is strict. You have exactly 30 days. Well, that deadline came and went on June 28th. And just 9 days after that window slammed shut, Ashley filed that ethics complaint against her own attorney.
And you can just feel the desperation in her own words from that complaint. She says her attorney was supposed to visit her in jail to talk about the appeal, but he never appeared. She then tried calling him again and again, but each time his voicemail box was full. Just silence.
Now, this isn't just a simple mistake or a missed deadline. In the legal world, when a lawyer fails to file an appeal after their client tells them to, it has a name: ineffective assistance of counsel. And that's a really big deal because it can be a violation of a person's constitutional rights. So after being let down by the one person who is supposed to be her advocate, Ashley's fight was far from over. In fact, her appeal for justice was really just getting started. With the official deadline passed and her right to an appeal seemingly gone, Ashley Higgins did something pretty incredible. She decided to represent herself. In legal terms, this is called acting pro se. It's a Latin phrase that literally means for oneself. So what does that actually involve? Well, the appeals process can seem super complicated, but you can boil it down to 3 main steps. First, you have to file that notice of appeal. That's the key document that got missed. Second, you submit written arguments, called briefs, that lay out all the legal errors. And finally, you wait for the higher court to review everything and make a decision. And in her self-led fight, her case really boils down to 3 core arguments. Number 1, ineffective assistance of counsel. Her lawyer's failure cost her her fundamental right to an appeal. Number 2, the inconsistent verdicts just don't make logical sense. And finally, she argues there was insufficient evidence to begin with, that the whole case against her was built on shaky testimony. This whole story leaves us with this one massive, lingering question that goes way beyond this specific case. It really makes you think about the very foundation of our system. When the process that's supposed to give you justice fails, can one person's fight, against all the odds, actually restore that promise?